We're up to number 6 of the 13 principles of the faith, which, as you know by now, I'd like to call the 13 descriptions of reality. In number 5, the Rambam said that our job was to serve God, which I interpreted to mean that we are to be creative like God was creative. They said to make God greater, a greater reputation as a creator by us being a second level creator, and to make other people know that so that it keeps going. And then he said to follow his instructions. Now, where do those instructions come from? So here in number 6, he introduces that there's such a thing as prophets. But he doesn't say prophets meaning people that hear God speaking. He doesn't say just that. He says we find certain people have an extremely refined character and a great self-awareness and a deep intellect. And they work on these things and develop them until their intellect reaches such a state, together with their character and their wholeness, that they hear God speaking supernaturally. They get extra wisdom in a supernatural fashion. Now, that's a process. And when I read that process, I realized the same applies to every other human talent. We find in our world and in every age, there are people with various talents that they seem to just start with a proclivity for a certain type. There's people that are very good with their hands. There are people that's very musical, very artistic, very fashionable, very charismatic, athletic, and so on. Every human activity, there are people that excel in one or another of these talents, or several, and develop the things that we need. So that makes sense. When God creates the world, there's a whole bunch of stuff to create, like shelter and food supplies and water supplies and governments, the ways of organizing ourselves, and on and on and on. And so there's creative things to do. And there's also ways to work our character. Every family, and everybody comes from a family, every family operates differently. There's certain things that are unique to that family because they're a collection of certain talents, certain personalities, and so on that come together, and it's always in a unique way. Just like people are unique with their fingerprints, with their DNA, so too the families, even more so, because they've got a group of unique individuals. And they have to be creative in the way they work with each other and their talents. And that develops its own character. And sometimes that could easily go off in the wrong direction. Now, with other things of creativity, you can also go off in the wrong direction, but there's a feedback loop. Because, you try to build something or develop something physical. If it works, so then it's good. You make it better. But if it doesn't work, so people tell you that's not working. It's too hard, too expensive, whatever it is, and you try again another way. But with a family life, you develop your own relationships and ways of approaching the world because they feel good at the time. They satisfy the immediate needs, but they may have not a good outcome in the end. It may be too aggressive, too lazy, too depressed, too assertive, all the different things. And you don't know for a long time that it's going to harm you. So for this reason, God has always provided prophets, people of a talent to be able to really find out the best ways of behaving that they did with their own refined character and their own deep intellect and self-awareness, and educate others. This is not going to work. You need people of a certain stature to find the right way to build a society, to build a sense of purpose, a sense of holiness, a sense of connection with your Creator, because otherwise you're going to be completely lost if you're not able to connect with your Creator and provide that feedback loop that I talked about earlier, where we focus on our Creator and He creates us. It's a feedback loop. So that brings us to the next principle.